Alright, well, let's get started taking this off. First we're going to loose up these two bolts here. They just hold the carburetor itself up onto the intake. Once we get these off, we're going to have to loosen up this hose clamp, which is not doing very much. It's actually burnt through at the bottom from it backfiring so much. So I'm going to have to order a new one of those eventually. And then we're going to have to disconnect the fuel line here or up here, whichever is easier to get it off. And then we'll take it in the garage and we'll have to clean it out, see what's in there. I don't know if the full reason is the carburetor has an issue with it, that's why it's backfiring, or if there's some crappy gasoline in there. Also could be something wrong with the air filter, could be blocking it from getting the air that it needs. And lastly, it could also be something wrong with the points. Maybe they need to be cleaned, because it almost acts like it gets intermittent spark every once in a while. So the points could have gotten gummed up from it sitting out here. I mean, it's tarped, but all the moisture comes up from the ground under there, and it could get in between the points there and gum it up. So a couple different things we can look at here. Alright, fuel shut off, and grab the other wrench here, loosen that up. This has been a really good machine. I bought it at an auction for $2,900, and this is the first time I've actually had to do any work to it. Other than that, I've put gas in the thing, I've driven it, and I've greased the track. But other than that, this thing has costed me nothing besides the initial $2,900 I paid for it, which, for how much I've used it, I think that was a pretty good price for it. Alright, we just gotta disconnect that up there. Let's see if we can get this cotter key out with having to go get pliers. Yep. Alrighty. Wiggle that out of there. Alright. Carburetor's out, and ready to take it inside, clean the thing out, see what we got. Alright, so the carburetor's off. Now it's time to disassemble it. See, this is pretty well burnt up, pretty well toast. It was backfiring, blowing flames out the carburetor, and just completely like disintegrated it. So I'll have to order a new one of those. But let's keep going. Needs a little assistance. Alright, well, upon initial inspection here, it doesn't look like it's too dirty in there. There's not really much debris really buildup of dust or dirt in there, but I do notice that it looks like the choke here, which is already broken, actually broke internally and is resting down in there. You can hear it rattling around. So I'll have to, oh, there it is. Alright, so that's probably what was getting caught in there when the vacuum was pulling and kept throwing the choke on and cutting off the oxygen to it. So that's probably the issue there. I'll probably have to get a rebuild kit for that, and definitely for this piece here. But at least we know what we're working with now. So I'll go through and I'll clean it up anyway, since we have it apart. Always want to inspect your float, make sure there's no like visible holes or anything. Another good test to do before you put it back in your carburetor, so just let it float in some water, hold it underwater, look for any air bubbles. You can also shake it, because usually if there's any gasoline inside of it, you'll hear it. Looks like the needle came out nice freely. There's no buildup on it. That's just stuff that's on my hands. I should probably wipe that off. Definitely need a new gasket now that I just tore it all up like that. But other than that, everything looks pretty good. I'm thinking this was definitely our issue here. So I'll have to see if I can find something online to order this piece here and go from there. Well, it looks like this piece here kind of just hooks in there and covers up this flat, but the spring is still there, so we're going to see if we can try to pull this piece out, hook this back together, and maybe get it to work for the time being, because I'd really like to get back out there and work on the track instead of just waiting around for this piece or the carb rebuild kit to come in. And also this. I usually buy tractor parts if I can off Steiner. Unfortunately, it takes a few days to come in, so instead of having all that downtime, I'll see if I can rig something up, or maybe we'll even borrow a carburetor off of one of my other pieces of equipment just to get us through the day and get us back out on the track. So let's see if we can get these screws out of here. Yeah, you got her. Alright, looks like it might be slightly bent. Hopefully that doesn't affect it too much. Definitely needs to be cleaned off. So we'll do that. This piece here is just shot. I mean, I don't even know what happened to it. I don't know if it got too hot next to the engine, and then when I pulled on the choke lever for some reason it broke off, or if it was this way when I first got the machine, I didn't even realize. But looks like it's cracked right there as well. So this piece has definitely seen some better days, but like I said, for now, if we can whip something up here to kind of get us through the day, we can get back out on the track and keep pushing dirt. Take a little Scotch-Brite here and try to scrub some of this stuff off. Get it very clean. I started buying all my brake clean from Walmart. Just this Super Tech. It's like $1.97 a can, which is like half the price of, I think, the CRC brand and of the the other materials or the other brake cleans that you can buy out there, and to be honest with you, I feel like this brake clean does as good of a job, if not better, than the more expensive brands. So I end up buying it by the case, just because I'm usually out here in the garage tinkering on stuff, cleaning carbs for new machines that I bring in, and it's always good to have the brake clean instead of having to run to the store to get it while you're in the middle of trying to clean a carburetor, because sometimes you leave off somewhere and you forget. It also looks like there's cracked here and here, so yeah, definitely have to spend some time online trying to find a carb kit. I looked a little bit for this model, and I didn't really come up with much. I found complete carburetors, but it's kind of silly to buy a complete carburetor when the only thing that's wrong with it is just like the choke aspect of it. It'd be nice if the thing ran so well that I didn't even have to use the choke, but you know. Okay, so looks like something like that, and then spring would go over here. Alright, so with these carburetors, in order to like look up a parts manual or parts for it, usually around the top edge you'll have a number. Some of them also have like a little plate here, so let's go ahead and clean that off. Looks like we got a 227-45, maybe that's an 8. And then up here we have a 491, if you can see that. And let's see what this thing here says. Looks like we got some numbers here. Just try to clean it off a little bit better. This most likely will be the numbers that we actually need to find a kit for it and find information for it online. Looks like we have a TSX 756 and then 5712. I don't really know what those mean, but now we should have the numbers that we need, and we should be able to look up the information online, see if we can find a carb kit, even if it's just off of eBay, and go from there. Alright, so in the meantime, while I'm trying to find a carb kit, I'm going to take this part and let it soak for a while. Alright, so I just called a local tractor parts store, and they said that they might be able to just whip something up for me here. So they said if I bring the carb to them and the pieces that I got, they can probably try to find something off the shelf that'll work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up this stuff real quick. It's only been sitting in the diesel for a few minutes, and spray it down, wipe it off, quickly reassemble the carb, and run over to that shop. Okay, well, I just got back from the tractor parts store here, and the guy was able to get me a brass piece here that should work for the carburetor. In the process of trying to straighten out my other one to kind of get a length, it snapped in half. So he gave me two different ones here to kind of piece together, snag the pieces of this off for the choke cable, use this spring, and use this brass bar. So try to use those two to make one good one. And I also had to buy the basic carb kit for it. It's only like $22 because this gasket here is all messed up. So I'll keep all the other spare parts just to have in case I need to rebuild this carb at some point. But at least for now, I have the new gaskets. And he didn't have the exact rubber breather there, so I went to AutoZone and just got a massive one, and all I'm gonna do is just cut it for length, and then I'll have the extra pieces left over for any other projects that I might need it for. So I have no idea where that thing shot off to. I'm sure I'll find it like months from now when I don't actually need it anymore. But for the time being, I think I can steal something like this out of a different carb kit that I have. And I think it might work. I don't know. I know it's not the right style, but as long as it holds it on there, might even just purposely squeeze it a little bit here, so I don't have to worry about it trying to back off. Okay, yeah, something like that will be good enough. Like, it'll hold it on there, but it shouldn't come off by itself. Alright, so now we better at least dry fit it here. Go through here. Looks like it's gonna work. Don't really know how this whole spring setup's gonna work. The other parts of it are zip tied to the choke lever cable at the moment, because when this lever got all bent up and broken, I didn't want to lose them, so I just zip tied them to the cable. So for now, I guess I'll just throw this on there. we'll just do a dry fit up here real quick. Make sure it actually fits in there. That'll be the next issue. Oh, I was wondering why there was some resistance, but I forgot there's that extra plate on there. Okay, so what I did was I took this piece out and I had to run the sides of it on the grinder wheel a little bit, shim it up, or shave a little bit off of it, and from there I was able to slide it right down in there. So hopefully that'll work for the time being. Let's open up this rebuild kit. Just enough to slide the gasket out that I need. Let's see, this has two different. This has a couple different things here. So, give me two different options. That's not it. That's it. Okay. Alright, before we go out there and put the carburetor on, I want to cut this hose. My only concern is this hose here is meant for a radiator because I'm just trying to do this in a pinch. So while I get this one in the mail. And so this one, since it's a radiator hose, is a little more flexible compared to this one. And so I hope the vacuum doesn't actually collapse this, but we're going to find out here very shortly. So what I did was I put this hose clamp around here to try to give me a good edge to mark around, and then cut. This way I can cut it somewhat square instead of just freehanding it. So I'm going to just mark this up here with the paint marker, and then this way it'll give me something to follow. See, hopefully it's pretty close. Not too bad. We have a little extra length. I don't think it's as tight of a bend, but it's pretty flexible. It should go where I want it to go. So let's go get these installed. need to look at the carb from this side and pay attention to how these flap is going, because we want it to be like that when the choke's on and like that when it's off. So in that case, I have it installed backwards because the cable is not going to pull it up in the air unless I had the cable somehow fixed up here. Cool. It would go like this. Well, I might have to swap that around. To start the John Deere 440C, first we want to put it in neutral. On my model, I have to put the choke on up there at the carburetor since this is disconnected at the moment. I'm going to turn the dial one click to the right. You want to pull your starter lever.